Hey everyone, in this video, we'll uncover the most valuable Abraham Lincoln wheat penny you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these Lincoln wheat pennies so special, how much they're worth in today's market. First up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny is one of the most talked about coins in American history. Not because it is extremely rare in its normal form, but because its story is unique. When people hear about valuable pennies, the first thing that comes to mind is the legendary 1943 copper penny, a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But behind that fame is the real, everyday 1943 steel penny, the one millions of people held during the height of World War II. The coin we are looking at today is the regular 1943 Lincoln steel penny without any mint mark, which means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches. And even though it may not be one of the high-value rarities, it still carries a story that makes it special to collectors and history lovers alike. During the early 1940s, the United States was fully committed to supporting the war efforts overseas. Copper, one of the most important materials for producing ammunition and military equipment, was needed in massive quantities. For that reason, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision in 1943. Instead of striking pennies in the usual copper alloy, they switched to using low-grade carbon steel coated with a thin layer of zinc. This gave the 1943 penny its bright silver-gray color when freshly minted and its magnetic properties, something no other regular Lincoln penny has. The coin served a simple purpose, but today it stands as a reminder of a crucial moment when every resource mattered. The 1943 steel penny, without a mint mark, is the most common among the three mints that produced this coin. Philadelphia struck more than 680 million pieces that year, and millions of them still exist today. But even with such high numbers, collectors care about condition, originality, and how well a coin has survived over the decades. Your coin, being in very fine condition, shows clear signs of circulation, but still retains good detail on Lincoln's hair, his facial features, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Very fine condition usually means moderate wear, slight smoothness on high points, and overall honest aging. The scratches on your coin do affect its value slightly, especially because steel pennies are more sensitive to surface damage than copper coins. Once the zinc coating wears down, the steel underneath can darken, oxidize, or corrode, which sometimes leads to black or gray patches on the surface, even with the wear and scratches. A 1943 steel penny in very fine condition still holds value, mostly from collector interest and its historical story. In today's market, most 1943 no mint mark steel pennies in very fine condition sell for somewhere around 30 to 55 cents. This might seem small compared to high-value era coins, but it's important to remember that a normal circulated 1943 penny is collected more for what it represents than for its monetary value. It is a wartime coin that millions of Americans spent daily, and for many collectors, that alone is enough reason to include it in their collections. The reason so many people look up the value of a 1943 penny is because of the famous error, the 1943 copper penny. A tiny number of copper planchettes from 1942 were accidentally fed into the presses in early 1943, creating one of the greatest U.S. Mint mistakes of all time. Those copper pennies can sell for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the coin you have, being made of steel, is the standard type. It is still collectible, but not in that high-value category. However, very fine condition is still a respectable grade for a wartime steel penny. Coins in this grade are often purchased by beginner collectors, history students, or people who enjoy building day-tanned mint mark sets of Lincoln wheat pennies. Even the scratches on your coin do not make it undesirable. Many circulated steel pennies have similar marks, because the zinc coating was soft and easily affected by handling. Next up, the 1926 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, large date, without a mint mark and featuring a tick line, is a coin that combines historical significance with subtle variety that appeals to collectors. This coin comes from a period when the United States was experiencing the Roaring Twenties, a time of economic growth, cultural change, and technological innovation. Just a few years before the onset of the Great Depression. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, first introduced in 1909, had become firmly established by the mid-1920s, and collectors today value these coins for their historical context, the enduring design, and the unique variations such as the large date or tick line varieties. Your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches, which reflects decades of circulation while still retaining enough detail to be recognizable and collectible. The absence of a mint mark indicates that this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the primary facility for striking Lincoln cents at the time. In 1926, Philadelphia struck more than 140 million Lincoln Wheat pennies, making this coin a moderately common date. However, the large date variety sets it apart from the small date version, as the numerals in the year are slightly taller and more prominent. Additionally, the tick line, small mark or die variation often found on certain 1926 cents, adds an extra element of interest for specialized collectors. Variations like these do not necessarily make a coin rare, but they do provide an opportunity for collectors to complete more detailed and nuanced collections that highlight subtle differences between die varieties. In terms of market value, a 1926 Lincoln Wheat Penny, large date, without mint mark and with tick line in good condition with scratches, is considered modestly valuable. Today, such coins typically sell for around $2 to $5, depending on the severity of the scratches, overall eye appeal, and clarity of the tick line variety. Coins in very fine or extra fine condition generally command higher prices, ranging from $5 to $10, while uncirculated examples with full original luster can exceed $15. Although the coin is not rare or exceptionally expensive, its combination of age, design, and die variety provides sufficient interest for collectors, especially those seeking to complete specialized collections of large date or tick line. Lincoln Wheat Pennies. The historical context of this coin adds to its significance. In 1926, pennies like this one were essential to everyday life, used to purchase small goods, pay for services, or save in jars and envelopes. The coin likely passed through countless hands, accumulating scratches and wear as a result. These marks are a visual record of its circulation, and while they slightly lower its market value, they also serve as a tangible reminder of the coin's journey through time. Each scratch and worn area connects the modern collector to the daily life of Americans nearly a century ago, offering a small but meaningful window into the economy and culture of the 1920s. Collectors today continue to pursue 1926 Lincoln Wheat pennies for several reasons. Completing a full wheat penny set from 1909 to 1958 requires including all date and mint mark variations, and specialized collectors also seek out die varieties such as large dates and tick line varieties, even in good condition with some scratches. Your coin is a valuable addition to such collections because it preserves the essential design, features, and illustrates the subtle variations that numismatists study and appreciate. It is accessible for collectors on a budget while still providing historical and numismatic interest. In conclusion, your 1926 Lincoln Wheat Penny, large date, without mint mark, and with tick line, in good condition with some scratches, has a market value today of approximately $2 to $5. While not a high-value rarity, it is a collectible coin with historical significance, an interesting die variation, and a tangible connection to the Roaring Twenties. Its age, design, and minor imperfections tell a story of everyday American life nearly a century ago, making it a meaningful piece for both collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Next up, the 1938 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with the Denver Mint mark is a coin that carries quiet historical charm. Not because it is extremely rare or difficult to find, but because it represents a time when the Lincoln cent series was steadily moving through the years before. World War II changed everything in America. Your coin, being in extra fine condition with some scratches, holds an interesting place within the collector world. It shows enough detail and character to stand out above regular circulated examples. Yet it also carries the marks of age and handling that remind us of its long journey through pockets, drawers, and decades of everyday life. The Denver Mint produced just over 20 million pennies in 1938, a number that is far lower than the massive mintages of later years. Although it is not considered extremely scarce, the 1938D wheat penny is still a coin that collectors look for, especially in grades above average circulation. Extra fine condition means your coin still has strong definition on Lincoln's hair, his beard, and the finer details around the date and lettering. The reverse also shows crisp wheat lines with only light smoothing on the highest points. Even with scratches, the coin maintains its overall appeal. Scratches do affect value somewhat, but at this condition level, the coin still remains desirable to many collectors who want a nice, detailed example without having to pay the higher cost of uncirculated pieces. The late 1930s were a transitional period in America. The nation was slowly recovering from the Great Depression, and small coins like the penny played a huge role in everyday transactions. A single cent carried much more buying power than it does today, and pennies circulated heavily, often getting worn down quickly. That makes surviving pieces in extra fine condition or better more appreciated among collectors. Your coin has survived more than 80 years, keeping much of its sharpness. And that alone gives it a certain charm that cannot be replicated with newer coins. When looking at coin values, several factors come into play: rarity, condition, eye appeal, and market demand. For the 1938D Lincoln wheat penny, the most important factor is condition. Lower grade circulated coins from this year often sells for only a few cents. However, extra fine examples usually rise above that very basic value and enter a more respectable market price range. Even with some scratches, your coin still maintains the overall sharpness needed to qualify as extra fine, which means it stands out from the lower value pieces found in bulk wheat penny lots. In today's market, a 1938D penny in extra fine condition normally sells for about $2 to $4. Scratches might bring the value slightly toward the lower end of that range, but they usually do not eliminate collector interest unless the scratches are deep or unpleasantly placed. Most collectors understand that an old coin will have small flaws, and many actually like the natural signs of age, as long as the main design features remain strong. Your coin fits that profile: aged, lightly marked, but handsome enough to be appreciated. Higher grade examples, such as uncirculated 1938D pennies, can bring more significant premiums, ranging from $10 to more than $30 depending on luster, color, and grading. But extra fine remains a comfortable middle ground, grade affordable, collectible, and visually appealing without reaching the price levels of mint-state coins. That is why many collectors prefer this grade. It offers the beauty of the design without requiring a large budget. Another thing that gives the 1938D penny its place in the collector world is its role in series completion. Lincoln wheat penny collectors often aim to gather each date and mint mark from 1909 to 1958. And the 1938D is one of those coins that fits perfectly into that mission. It is not the rarest, not the most expensive, but essential to completing a full wheat penny set. Extra fine examples like yours make excellent additions to albums, because they display the design clearly while still showing honest age. It is also worth noting that coins from the late 1930s are becoming more sought after as fewer remain in strong original condition. Many coins from this era have been cleaned or heavily worn, and collectors commonly avoid coins that have been improperly cleaned because it disrupts their natural surfaces. The scratches on your coin may reduce its value slightly, but they are far less damaging than cleaning marks or corrosion. That means your coin still sits comfortably within the desirable range of original circulated pieces. Next up, the 1945 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and no mint mark is a coin that represents a significant period in American history. A time when World War II was drawing to a close and the country was beginning to adjust to post-war life, even though it is not considered a rare coin. The large date variety adds a small but noticeable element of interest for collectors, especially those focused on completing date and mint mark sets or who appreciate subtle design differences. Your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches, showing that it has seen circulation and passed through many hands over the decades. The absence of a mint mark tells us that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the largest of the U.S. mints and responsible for striking the majority of coins during that era. In 1945, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln wheat pennies, and the coin remained a key part of everyday commerce. Pennies were used in all sorts of small transactions, from buying newspapers and candy to paying for postage and other minor purchases. Your coin's journey through circulation likely involved countless exchanges, giving it the natural wear and scratches that collectors now observe. The fine condition grade indicates that, although it has experienced moderate circulation, most of the major design details remain visible. Lincoln's portrait on the obverse is still recognizable, with the contours of his hair, beard, and facial features apparent. Even though the high points show signs of wear, the large date variety of 1945 is characterized by slightly longer or more prominent numerals in the year, a feature that differentiates it from the small date 1945 issue. While the difference may be subtle to the casual observer, collectors enjoy these distinctions because they add depth and completeness to a wheat penny collection. Even in fine condition with scratches, your coin preserves the essential details that define the large date, making it a valuable piece for those building full date and mint sets. While large date variations are not typically worth dramatically more than the common versions in circulated grades, having one in acceptable condition remains desirable for hobbyists and casual collectors alike in terms of market value. A 1945 large date Lincoln penny without a mint mark, in fine condition with some scratches, is modest. Today, such coins usually sell in the range of 10 to 25 cents. Depending on the severity of the scratches, the wear, and the coin's overall eye appeal, the scratches reduce value slightly compared to a clean, fine-grade coin, but the design details are still readable and intact, maintaining the coin's place as a collectible item. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition would generally sell for 50 cents to $1, while uncirculated examples with original red or reddish-brown luster could reach $2 to $5 or more. Despite its relatively low monetary value, the coin's historical significance and role in the wheat penny series make it a meaningful item for POS collectors. The historical context of this coin further enhances its appeal. The 1945 penny was struck as the world celebrated the end of a global conflict. Yet coins remained essential in everyday life. Many people carried pennies in their pockets, jars, and purses, using them for minor transactions, saving them, or passing them along to others. Each scratch and mark on your coin reflects its journey, telling a story that goes beyond numbers and market prices. It is a tangible link to the mid-1940s, when the nation was focused on rebuilding and returning to normalcy after years of wartime effort and sacrifice. Collectors today continue to pursue 1945 wheat pennies. because they are a key part of completing a full Lincoln cent set. Even though the coin is common, the large date variation provides a small point of interest and makes the coin slightly more special than a typical 1945 penny. Your coin, in fine condition with some scratches, is an accessible and affordable way for collectors to own a piece of history without paying the premiums associated with higher grade or uncirculated coins. Its combination of wear, age, and surviving design details ensures that it continues to have value both as a collectible and as a historical artifact. Next up, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is one of the final pieces of the long-running wheat cent series, a design that had already been in circulation for nearly half a century. Even though it is one of the more common late-date wheat pennies, each coin still carries a link to the era of the 1950s, a time of rapid change in America. When the economy was growing, new technologies were emerging, and the penny was a meaningful part of everyday purchases. The coin you have is described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, and that level of wear tells the story of a coin that circulated widely, passing through many hands over the years. Today, collectors continue to seek wheat cents from all eras, sometimes for their historical value, sometimes for personal nostalgia, and sometimes to complete entire sets. Even a lower-grade 1957 penny has its place in that collector interest. The 1957 wheat penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and because it carries no mint mark, we know that is exactly where it came from. More than 282 million pieces were struck that year, a very large number, which means this coin is not rare when compared to early wheat cents from the 1910s, 1920s, and 1930s. The design remains the same familiar portrait that Americans had seen since 1909. Abraham Lincoln sits boldly on the obverse, facing right with his distinctive beard, the word liberty at his left, and the date 1957 positioned neatly to the right. On the reverse, the famous wheat ears curve along the sides, framing the denomination and the words E pluribus unum. Even after decades, the wheat penny remains one of the most beloved coin designs in U.S. history, and collectors still value them highly as a group. Even if some dates are more common than others, when evaluating the value of your coin, the two biggest factors are condition and overall eye appeal. A coin in dirty condition with scratches naturally falls into the lower circulated grades. Dirt, discoloration, and marks from handling are normal on older pennies that have been in circulation for many years. These do not make the coin worthless, but they do affect the price because collectors prefer coins that are clean and retain sharp details. If the coin is very dirty, or if the scratches are deep, dealers tend to price it on the lower end of its value range. However, even with wear, a 1957 penny still holds more collector interest than modern cents because it represents the last era of the wheat design before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. 4. Most circulated 1957 pennies without a mint mark. The typical value in today's market ranges from just a few cents to around 10 cents. That is the range for coins in average, dirty, or scratched condition similar to the one you described. While this may not seem high, it is still several times its original face value, and many collectors buy these coins in bulk to fill coin albums, create starter collections, or resell them in sets. If your coin were in a cleaner and sharper grade, like very fine or extremely fine, its value could be closer to 20 to 30 cents. And if it were in uncirculated condition with bright original red color, the price could rise to a few dollars, sometimes reaching $5 or slightly more, depending on how strong the luster is. But in dirty, scratched, circulated condition, a realistic and fair value remains. In the low cents range, another reason collectors still enjoy coins like the 1957 wheat penny is because it is one of the easiest and most affordable dates for completing a full wheat cent set. Early coins in this series can cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars in high grades. But late 1950s pennies are accessible to everyone. They allow beginners to take their first step into the world of collecting without needing a large budget. Many coin enthusiasts started their love of collecting by finding a 1955, 1956, or 1957 wheat penny in their pocket change years ago. Even now, though they are harder to find in circulation, people continue to search through old jars and boxes, hoping to discover wheat pennies exactly like yours, even in dirty condition. Your coin tells a real story. It may have traveled through shops, been dropped on sidewalks, passed between children, or sat in a drawer during the early years of the Cold War. Its scratches and wear are reminders of its long journey. And although the dollar value is low, the historical value remains strong. Next up, the 1937 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and no mint mark is a coin that holds a special place for collectors who focus on subtle variations in the Lincoln cent series. Even though it is not one of the extremely rare issues, the large date variety adds a touch of interest for those who study minor differences and want a representative coin in their collection. Your coin is described as being in good condition with some scratches, which shows that it has circulated and experienced decades of use, yet retains enough detail to appeal to collectors. The absence of a mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main facilities producing Lincoln wheat pennies at the time. The large date variety simply means that the numerals in the year 1937 are slightly bigger than the small date version, which was produced in smaller quantities. This subtle difference does not dramatically increase value, but adds a collectible element for enthusiasts looking to complete a set with all varieties. The Lincoln wheat penny, first issued in 1909, was designed by Victor David Brenner and was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1937, the series had been in circulation for nearly 3 decades, and the design remained largely unchanged, with Lincoln's right-facing portrait on the obverse and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse. The obverse displays Lincoln's carefully detailed hair, beard, and facial features, with the word Liberty to the left and the date to the right. The reverse shows 2 wheat stalks curving along the edges, framing 1 cent and United States of America, along with the national motto, E pluribus unum, even after more than 80 years. This design continues to be admired for its simplicity and historical significance. The large date 1937 variation provides a slightly different aesthetic for collectors who study the subtle changes in the numerals, giving the coin a special characteristic that distinguishes it from the small date issue. Your coin is in good condition, which in numismatic terms means it has seen circulation but retains clear major details. Lincoln's portrait shows some wear, particularly on the high points of his hair and cheek, but the overall features remain recognizable. The wheat ears on the reverse also show moderate wear but remain identifiable. The scratches on your coin slightly reduce its aesthetic appeal, yet they do not eliminate its value entirely. Many collectors understand that coins from this era were used extensively in daily transactions, and minor surface marks are expected on coins that circulated for decades, even in good condition with scratches. The 1937 large date wheat penny offers a tangible connection to the everyday life of Americans during the late 1930s. In terms of market value, the 1937 large date penny without mint mark in good condition with some scratches is modestly priced. Most examples in this condition sell for approximately 50 cents to $2 in today's market. The value depends on the severity of wear and the visibility of details, but the coin's common date and high mintage keep prices relatively low compared to rarer or uncirculated varieties. Higher grade coins, such as very fine or extra fine examples, can sell for $3 to $5, and uncirculated coins with strong red luster may reach $10 or more. depending on their preservation and eye appeal. The large date variety does not usually command a major premium in circulated grades. But collectors appreciate this subtle difference and are willing to pay slightly more for a complete collection that includes this variation. The historical context of this coin adds further significance. In 1937, America was still recovering from the Great Depression, and pennies like this one were used extensively for everyday purchases, from newspapers to candy and small household items. Your coin may have passed through countless hands, been dropped or carried in pockets, and spent decades circulating before eventually being preserved. The scratches and wear on the coin are a testament to that long history. And while they reduce monetary value, they increase the coin's authenticity and connection to the past. Coins like this one are not just currency, they are artifacts that tell the story of everyday life in 1930s America. Collectors today still pursue 1937 wheat pennies to complete their datainment collections. Even though it is a common date, having a good condition example of the large date variation is a satisfying addition to a set. Your coin, with visible details, identifiable large date, and intact design elements, fits well within that collector interest. While it may not be worth a high price in today's market, typically 50 cents to $2, it remains a meaningful piece of numismatic history. A tangible reminder of the Lincoln wheat penny's enduring design and its role in American life for decades. Next up, the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny with the S. Mint mark is a coin that carries the charm of the post-war era, a time when America was rebuilding, families were growing, and the economy was shifting into a period of strength and optimism. Even small coins like the penny were used daily and carried real purchasing power, passing through countless hands, stores, and pockets. Your coin, described as being in fine condition with some scratches, represents that long journey through everyday life. It may not be in perfect shape, but the marks and where it has collected over the decades become part of the story that makes old coins meaningful. The S Mint mark on your coin tells us it was produced at the historic San Francisco Mint, a branch known for producing smaller quantities compared to the Philadelphia or Denver mints. That gives the 1947 S penny a slightly more interesting presence among collectors, especially for those trying to complete a full wheat penny detainment set. In 1947, the San Francisco Mint produced just over 99 million wheat pennies. While that number may sound large, it is significantly lower than other years where production reached hundreds of millions or even billions. This does not make the 1947 S penny rare, but it does place it in a less common category among late 1940s wheat cents. The design is the same classic style that collectors admire, Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, facing right with the simple yet iconic details of his face, beard, and coat. The date 1947 sits clearly to the right, and the small S mint mark just below it shows its origin. On the reverse, the familiar wheat ears curve around the phrase 1 cent, reminding us why collectors still call these coins wheat pennies even after so many decades. Your coin is listed as being in fine condition, which means the high points of Lincoln's portraits show wear, but the major details remain visible and clear. Fine condition usually means there is noticeable smoothing on the hair, cheek, and jawline, but no heavy flattening. The wheat lines on the reverse show some wear as well, but much of their shape is still recognizable. The scratches on your coin do bring the grade down slightly in appearance, and a dirty or marked surface can reduce collector value. However, many collectors accept minor scratches because circulated coins naturally show signs of use after more than 70 years, as long as the coin has not been cleaned harshly or corroded badly. Normal scratches are not a major issue. When it comes to value, the 1947's penny, in fine condition, typically sells in today's collector market for around 5 cents to 15 cents. That is the general range for circulated coins with some wear and surface marks. The coin is common enough that its value is not high. But it still holds more appeal than modern pennies because wheat cents have history behind them and are no longer made. If your coin had been in very fine or extremely fine condition, the value could increase to around 20 to 40 cents. If it had been uncirculated with original red luster, the value could rise to several dollars, sometimes even reaching the $10 range for truly bright and clean examples. But in fine condition with scratches, the realistic value remains modest. Despite the low monetary value, the 1947 S penny remains important for collectors who enjoy building sets. Completing a full run of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958 requires having each date and each mint mark, and the 1947S plays a role in that mission. San Francisco mint coins always carry a little extra intrigue because they were produced in smaller numbers than Philadelphia issues. Collectors like the feel that they are adding something slightly less common when they place an S mint coin into their album. Even in fine condition, the 1947S fits nicely into a collector's book because the design remains visible, honest, and true to the era. The history of this coin adds depth to its charm. In the late 1940s, pennies were used constantly for everyday purchases, paying for newspapers, telephone calls, small toys, and candies that cost just 1 or 2 cents. The coin likely passed through many hands during the post-war boom. Maybe during the early years of television, the birth of suburban neighborhoods, or even during the first beginnings of the Cold War period. Every scratch and mark on the coin reflects the years it spent in circulation before eventually being saved by someone who recognized its age and wanted to preserve it. First up, the 1942 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a piece of American history from the early years of World War II. Even though it may not be rare, it carries significance as part of the wheat penny series, which spanned from 1909 to 1958 and celebrated the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Your coin is described as being in damaged condition with some scratches, which reflects the journey it has taken through decades of circulation, daily use, and handling. While these imperfections reduce its monetary value, they also give the coin character, showing that it was once a vital part of everyday life in mid-20th century America. The absence of a mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the main production facilities for pennies during this era, and it represents one of the most widely circulated coins of its time. In 1942, the United States was fully engaged in World War II, and the economy and society were heavily influenced by the war effort. Materials were being conserved for military purposes, though pennies in 1942 were still made primarily of copper with a small proportion of tin and zinc, unlike the 1943 steel cents produced the following year. This makes your 1942 penny a standard copper-based coin, part of a period in which the Lincoln cent maintained its familiar design. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse continues to be the defining feature, with his bearded profile, his deep-set eyes, and the word liberty on the left. The date 1942 sits prominently on the right, and the reverse showcases the iconic wheat ears framing 1 cent and United States of America, along with a national motto, E pluribus unum, despite the damage and scratches on your coin. These design elements are still discernible, and the coin remains a recognizable piece of the Lincoln wheat penny series. The condition of your coin is described as damaged, which in numismatic terms means it has suffered from significant wear, handling, or environmental effects over the years. Damage can include deep scratches, bent edges, discoloration, corrosion, or other imperfections that reduce both the eye appeal and the collector value. While a coin in such a condition may not command high prices, it still holds interest for collectors who are focused on completing day-10 sets or preserving historical coins. Scratches, while reducing aesthetic appeal, are expected on coins that circulated for decades. And in the case of a 1942 penny, They are part of the story that reflects the life of the coin in everyday commerce. In terms of market value, a 1942 penny without mint mark in damaged condition with scratches is generally modest. Most coins in this state sell for a few cents above face value, often between 3 and 10 cents, depending on the severity of the damage and the remaining detail visible on the coin. It is unlikely to attract a premium price because it is a relatively common date and the damage further lowers its value. Coins in better condition, such as very fine or extra fine grades, typically sell for 25 cents to 50 cents. While uncirculated examples with full original luster can reach $1 to $2 or more, despite its limited monetary value. Your coin is still collectible for those who wish to. Represent the year 1942. In their Lincoln Wheat penny collection, the historical context of the 1942 penny also adds significance beyond its face value. Pennies like this were used in everyday transactions, from buying newspapers and candy to paying for streetcars and small household items. The coin may have circulated widely during the early war years, touching countless hands, and the scratches and damage are physical evidence of that history. It is a tangible reminder of the lives of people during a pivotal period in American history, when every coin counted and the nation was focused on both domestic and international challenges, even in damaged condition. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat penny represents a piece of numismatic and cultural history. Collectors value such coins for the role they play in completing sets and for the story they tell about the life of a coin. While it may not be worth a significant amount in today's market, typically only a few cents above its face value, it remains an important example of mid-20th century American currency, a small yet meaningful artifact from the World War II era. Its scratches and imperfections serve as reminders of its journey through time, making it a collectible item for enthusiasts, educators, and anyone interested in the tangible history of everyday American life. Next up, the 1930 Abraham Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark is a coin that captures a piece of American history from the early 20th century, a period when the country was in the early stages of the Great Depression. Coins from this era carry stories far beyond their monetary value, showing the wear and circulation of small change during challenging times. Your coin, described as being in good condition with some scratches, represents that journey through decades of use and even with its minor imperfections. It holds interest for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. The lack of a mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the largest producer of pennies during that period. This coin is part of the classic Lincoln Wheat penny series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and continued with the wheat reverse design until 1958. In 1930, the Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 136 million wheat pennies, making it a moderately common date in the series. While it is not considered rare in today's market, the coin is still sought after for its historical significance and for those working to complete a full set of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958. The design is timeless. Abraham Lincoln's profile faces right on the obverse, with his distinctive beard and facial features capturing a recognizable likeness that has endured for more than a century. The word liberty appears to his left, and the date 1930 sits clearly to the right. On the reverse, two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with a national motto, E pluribus unum, forming the design that gives the wheat penny its iconic name. Your coin is in good condition, which in numismatic terms means that it has seen circulation but retains much of the important detail. Lincoln's face and coat show some flattening from wear, though the features are still recognizable, and the lettering remains legible. The wheat ears on the reverse show moderate wear, but their outline is still present. The scratches on your coin, while lowering its aesthetic appeal slightly, do not remove its value entirely. They are a natural result of decades of handling, and many collectors understand that coins of this age often bear such marks. The patina, scratches, and slight discoloration all tell the story of the coin's life. And for some collectors, these imperfections make the coin feel more authentic and historically meaningful. In terms of value, a 1930 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat penny in good condition with scratches is generally modest. In today's market, such coins typically sell for around 50 cents to $1. While this may seem low compared to rarer or uncirculated coins, it reflects the fact that the 1930 Philadelphia penny is a fairly common date. Coins in higher grades, such as very fine or extremely fine condition, can sell for $2 to $5, while uncirculated examples with full red luster may reach $10 or more, depending on their surface quality and preservation. The key factors affecting value are condition, eye appeal, and whether the coin has been cleaned or damaged. Your coin, though showing scratches, is still a genuine example that would appeal to collectors seeking a mid-grade coin to complete a set or to own a tangible piece of 1930s America. The historical context of this coin adds another layer of interest. Pennies like the 1930 Lincoln were used every day during the early years of the Great Depression, when money was tight and small change mattered. A single cent could buy a newspaper, a candy bar, or a few minutes of a public phone call. The coin likely passed through countless hands, from shopkeepers to families, surviving decades of circulation before being saved by someone who recognized its place in the series. Each scratch and mark is a small record of its journey, a reminder that coins are not just currency, they are artifacts of daily life. Collectors today still pursue 1930 wheat pennies because they offer an affordable entry into the Lincoln Cent series while connecting directly to an important period in U.S. history. Coins like yours allow enthusiasts to complete date and mint mark sets without spending large sums, while also providing a physical link to the past, even in good condition with scratches. The 1930 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat penny remains a meaningful and collectible piece. In conclusion, your 1930 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in good condition with scratches is worth approximately 50 cents to $1 in today's market. It is not a high-value rarity, but it is a coin with historical significance and enduring charm. Its design, age, and the story told by its wearer make it a fascinating piece for collectors, students of history, and anyone interested in the journey of everyday American currency. This coin reminds us that even small, humble pennies have a story to tell, spanning decades and connecting generations through their quiet presence in daily life. Next up, the 1935 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny. Large date without a mint mark is a coin that represents an era of American history that is both challenging and fascinating. This period, in the middle of the Great Depression, was marked by economic hardship. Yet coins like the Lincoln Cent remained an essential part of everyday life. The large date variety of the 1935 penny distinguishes it from its small date counterpart, offering collectors a subtle but meaningful difference that enhances its appeal. Your coin, described as being in very fine condition with some scratches, retains a high level of detail despite decades of circulation, making it a noteworthy piece for any collection. The absence of a mint mark indicates that this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was responsible for producing the majority of Lincoln pennies during this period. The large date variation of the 1935 penny is characterized by slightly taller or more prominent numerals in the year, a feature that experienced collectors look for when seeking complete sets or die varieties. While this does not make the coin rare in the way some earlier or error coins are, it does provide an additional layer of collectability. Coins with subtle variations, such as large dates, small dates, or die markers are often sought after by enthusiasts who take pleasure in the nuances of numismatics, and they often hold more interest than a standard circulated example, even in very fine condition with minor scratches. Your coin presents the design clearly enough to be appreciated and studied by collectors. The design of the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny remains classic and instantly recognizable. Abraham Lincoln's right-facing portrait appears on the obverse with detailed hair, beard, and facial features that, even with some wear, still convey the dignity and seriousness intended by the designer, Victor David Brenner. The word Liberty appears to Lincoln's left, and the date. In this case, the large 1935 numerals sits to the right in terms of market value. A 1935 large date Lincoln penny without a mint mark in very fine condition with some scratches is generally valued higher than coins in lower grades, though it remains an affordable collectible. Most examples in very fine condition sell for around $3 to $7 in today's market, depending on the severity of the scratches, eye appeal, and overall sharpness of the design. Coins in extremely fine or uncirculated grades can sell for $10 or more, particularly if they retain original luster or have attractive color tones. While the 1935 large date penny is not rare compared to earlier issues or era coins, its age, design, and collectible variety make it a desirable addition to both general and specialized Lincoln cent collections. The historical context of this coin adds depth to its appeal. In 1935, the United States was navigating the middle of the Great Depression. Pennies like this one were essential for everyday purchases, from newspapers and candy to streetcars and small household items. Your coin likely passed through many hands, accumulating light scratches and wear along the way. These imperfections serve as physical reminders of its circulation history and add authenticity, connecting modern collectors to a period when even small change played a crucial role in daily life. Coins are not just currency, they are artifacts of the social and economic conditions of their time. Collectors today continue to value 1935 Lincoln wheat pennies for several reasons. Completing a full wheat penny set from 1909 to 1958 requires acquiring coins from each year and, when possible, each mint mark. Specialized collectors also seek large date and small date variations to enhance the completeness of their collections. Your coin, being in very fine condition, offers clear design details that make it an excellent example for collectors who want a well-preserved representation of the 1935 large date, even with minor scratches. The coin is desirable because it retains its character and demonstrates the wear typical of a circulated CD coin from this era. In conclusion, your 1935 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, large date without mint mark, in very fine condition with some scratches, has a realistic market value of approximately $3 to $7. While not an extremely rare or high-value coin, it is a meaningful collectible with historical significance, a subtle design variation, and a tangible connection to the everyday life of Americans during the mid-1930s. Its design, condition, and age make it a valuable addition to any collection, providing both educational and historical value, while representing a small but important part of U.S. numismatic history.